Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
All right.
You got Maz dancing. You know the Lions won.
All right.
Ladies, contain yourself. Mazaway is on the dance floor.
We will take it. We will take it. 20-6 Lions over the Falcons today. Stick in the house. Anson in the house. My man Luke. JB. Kool-Aid. All in the house here at Woodward Sports. Welcome in our Lions post-game show. 20-6 win. Lions 2-1, boys, heading into Green Bay.
2-1 and an overtime away from being 3-0. And everybody that was panicking last week when we kicked off the post-game show, everybody that was jumping off the bandwagon, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Like we tried to tell you, it was going to be a long season. We tried to tell you that sometimes a team is going to lose some games unless you had them going undefeated. But you're back on the bandwagon. You're back feeling good about the Lions. You know, the ski mask thing doesn't look so stupid this week.
I only saw a few of them today.
But they nationally covered it today, though, too.
They did.
I mean, the way the Detroit Lions defense rebounded after last week, that's what you wanted to see. They got their teeth kicked in last week. This week, the defense comes out. What do they do against Bijan Robinson, who the Lions should have drafted over Jahmyr Gibbs? And, oh, my God, they shouldn't have traded down because Bijan's changing the running back game, and we could have had him. We didn't fucking need him. We got Jahmyr Gibbs. Anson, I know last week you were on they kind of, you gotta be cautious about these guys. Are you back on with us? Are you back on throwing caution to the wind?
My thing last week is we should have won that game 28-16. We shot ourselves in the foot 3 different times. That didn't happen today. We had one minor miscue. Lions fans at home should be really satisfied right now because, like you touched on, they were crying, where's the pressure? Let's fire AG. We had all kinds of pressure. 7 sacks today, baby.
Where's the fire the AG crowd right now?
Right?
Where's fire AG after one game?
And we got people crying, artists, crying about the rookies. You saw Jahmyr Gibbs win the battle of the backs today between him and Bijan. You see Laporta with a record-setting rookie tight end number. I mean, the creative play calling, we dialed it up. We had 7 guys out of our starting lineup today, and we didn't need them.
And you lost Matt Nelson early, so the offensive line, man, is hurting. You got to see Colby Sorsdell come in. They had a bunch of holding penalties. I think they had 5 and 2 on Penei Sewell. I didn't love that, but Desmond Ridder is not Geno Smith. Let's just say that.
Who would have thought, man?
Who would have thought?
Imagine that.
He's just not. They get the pressure on him, and 7 sacks, 2 by Aiden Hutchinson. He got the strip fumble at the end to put it away. They did just enough to win. Sam Laporta, I called it all week. I said he's going to be the guy this week, just like Hawkinson was last year against Seattle.
I got to stop you there. What do you mean they did just enough to win? They dominated this game the entire. There was never in doubt. The first half was a complete ass whooping.
The third quarter.
The second half. This is the only thing I complain about. The second half, it feels like they were just pulled back a little bit. Like we were talking to D-Mac during the live watch party. Like, where do you get that killer instinct? How can these guys, just put their final foot on someone's throat when they have the lead at home? You saw Dan Campbell punting the ball. So what do you mean they did enough to win? They did enough to dominate.
Well, yeah, they definitely did. They held Atlanta to 6 points. Atlanta, not a real big offensive team. They do love running the ball. They probably didn't run it as much as they should have. They relied more on Desmond Ridder. And Drake London had a couple of good catches. I did see Kyle Pitts. I saw a Kyle Pitts sighting today. Tyler Algier, okay. Again, they outrushed him. Did they hold him under 100 yards combined?
I think they had to have. Bijan only had like 50 total yards. Algier probably had like 30, 40.
Okay,
but
so they
didn't.
So that's 3 straight games under 100. That's how you win a game.
As a team, they ran for 44 yards.
44 yards.
44 yards.
There you go.
So as a team, they threw for 139.
So you look at it as a defensive win or an
offensive win?
Talking
184 yards. It's a hell of a defensive win.
Yeah.
This is without a doubt a defensive win because the Detroit Lions offense we saw even in the beginning of the first half and especially in the beginning of that second half kind of stalled out. And what was keeping them in the game? That was a 13-3 game
the
forever.
First half.
Forever.
The first half, the offense looked great. Like, they unleashed Jared Goff in that first half. I was excited to see it. I mean, we hadn't seen that many downfield throws in how many games. He had like 3, and he overthrew Khalif Raymond.
He did.
For all the people saying that Jared Goff doesn't have a strong arm.
He was wide open.
Yeah, well, you know, when you got a gun like Jared Goff and you can throw it on a fucking Ford Field, you overthrow people like Khalif Raymond.
How about those feet of his? Yeah. Touchdown. He almost had one early in the game. He got tripped up. But he come back and he gets the touchdown to put it away.
Dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, people have been all week have been crying about Jared Goff and the rookies. Did Campbell and Holmes make a mistake putting the future of this franchise in Goff's hands? Do we re-sign him, extend him? Why did we move these players that we had in Hawkinson and Swift and guys like that and get younger with these guys that are unproven? I mean, 4 guys stepped up today. We already talked about Laporta. We already talked about Gibbs. But let's talk about Brian Branch and his 11 solo tackles, his 2 pass deflections. But let's also talk about Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell was out there. Yep. He had a sack. He had some pressures. He had got on the board 4 or 5 tackles. I mean, the youth movement on this team, they're not only exciting, they're making plays as starters now and contributing to this team in week 3. This is what we want for this window of the 20s, not just 2023. This team really excited me too.
Hey, let me throw the phone number out to you characters out there in Lions Land. Give us a call, 313-552-6322. Luke will put it up on the chat for you, 313-552-6322. It's Stick and Anson and the rest of the gang here along with Maz. I got to mention one thing. The Dolphins scored 70 points today.
I was going. I had to ask you.
Scored 70
wait a second, though.
points.
I was just going to ask him because, Maz, you called the Denver Broncos in this one, right?
The Dolphins postgame show's down the road. This is the Lions postgame.
But we got 70 points on the board with 4 minutes left.
Nobody cares.
We care about 70 points, though.
I will tell you this. Another thing is the Packers were down 17-0. They won 18-17. And then the Vikings right now are trying to drive to possibly beat the Chargers, who are up by 4.
The Lions just won to go to 2-1, which now gives them a 54% chance of making the playoffs.
I
don't give a fuck about anybody else unless they're wearing Honolulu blue. That's all I want to talk about.
Anson, how you put up with this?
Well, you know, I feel you on that. We shouldn't talk about Miami. But
because this is a national postgame show. This is not Detroit Lions postgame show.
It was news to me until he just said it. But that's a big comeback win for the Packers. We got a big divisional face-off next week. 2-1, both teams.
So what do you think people want to hear about, Justin Jefferson or Brian Branch right now?
I think they want to hear about Brian Branch and eventually the breakdown of us going to Green Bay and kicking some ass.
Okay, listen. All right, last thing. Colts and Ravens in overtime, tied at 18.
Oh, my God.
Gardner Minshew ran out of the end zone for a safety.
No one cares about Gardner Minshew.
You know who does? Dan Orlovsky.
Nobody cares about Dan Orlovsky.
You know what? Company.
He's got a point. He's got a point. That's like when the Browns went 0-16. We had company.
The Lions.
Orlovsky's got company, finally.
The Lions have a winning record 3 weeks into the season for the first time in like 5 years, and we're talking about Gardner fucking Minshew.
He's got a Gardner Minshew crush. You should know this, Maz. You're slandering his guy.
I know.
Let's get back to the Lions.
They're in overtime, so he might win the damn game. Why must you yell and bang on the table?
because I want to talk about Minshew. Listen,
you should see when we lose, bro.
This is what I wait all week long for this post-game show. I wait all week, and last week's post-game show was like a kick in the dick, and we got to stand up here, take a bunch of crap
I was
from
at
people.
the game last week.
People
Sorry,
talking,
I missed it.
And now we're talking about the Colts.
Anson, how many post-game show did we do before we could even celebrate one win?
Yeah, it was a lot.
And now it's like, oh, the Lions won. Fuck it, Gardner Minshew ran out of the end zone.
Diamondbacks 4, Yankees nothing right now. They are in the 7th.
WNBA playoff update. The Phoenix Mercury.
Hey, Fish is in Italy right now watching soccer. Can we talk about that?
All right, fellas.
Back to beating Atlanta.
Yes.
All right, we looked at a little bit of the defensive side of the ball. The offensive side of the ball dominated in the first half. They did slow down in the second half. Do you think, like, Ben Johnson has kind of lost a little bit of that creativity, or why don't these guys know how to go for the kill? That is the question. Because they let Atlanta hang in this game when they very easily could have just shut them out and put them away. And I'm not mad about the win. Not mad. I'm so happy they won. But I just want the Lions to be able to be those killers, those animals out there, and understand when they have a lead at home, not like last week against Seattle, they just got to come in and shut them down.
Yep.
But I love the way everybody played today. Jack Fox was awesome because we used the punter. It was amazing.
The old Lions lose this game because the old Lions let you hang in there and hang in there. This ain't SOL. We said SOL died week 1. It did against
and
the
then
Chiefs.
resurfaced week 2.
But it didn't really resurface.
And then came back this week,
It
and
didn't
we,
really
and we shut
resurface.
that kind of talk up this week.
Yes, it's a win. 20-6. They get the job done, and now you get a short week going into Lambeau on Thursday night. Packers also coming off a win as well. So 2-1, you're a leader in the NFC North right now.
And you got to feel confident against the Packers. I mean,
They beat them how many times in a row?
Atlanta
at least
beat them.
2.
And so, ipso facto, if you beat Atlanta, you should be able to beat the Packers.
That's not how it works, but yeah.
I know it's not.
In your world, yes, that's how
in theory,
it works.
it
Yes.
should work.
It gives you
And
great
not to mention that
confidence
whole
going
second half, Derek Carr was out for the Saints, so they're going up against their backup quarterback, who I know is Jameis Winston. He's all right, but still, they finished the second half and had a comeback victory against the Saints without their starting quarterback, which they needed.
Well, if we win this game cardiac cat style by 2 points last minute, going into Green Bay, I'm a lot more nervous than the way that I feel right now.
Really?
Absolutely. I have a lot more confidence. This game felt like a super trap game. Carolina 2.0 is all I heard all week long. But we shut down the run. They've got, they're still without Christian Watson. Obviously, he's spreading the ball around a lot. I'm looking at the stats here in Green Bay and Love. He distributed the ball all over the field.
He scored on his own as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
Don't you feel the Lions kind of shook the stigma of Lambeau Field by what they did last year to Aaron Rodgers in his last game?
But I think that this is the team we have to beat to win the North. And so we're
sure
still
looking that
going
way.
in there. We're both tied at 2-1. This is a division championship type of game here in a setting that's on the road, really going to test the resolve of this young team. And I feel great about that now because they didn't come in and barely edge Atlanta today. They dominated.
They did, and you know what? They did it without their number 1 running back in David Montgomery, who is out now with the thigh injury, day to day, as Dan Campbell calls him. But they did it with everybody.
Yeah.
Even Bam Knight gets in there. He was in there quite a bit, man.
Yeah.
It was not bad.
Got 4 or 5 carries.
Netflix as well.
Craig
Netflix
Reynolds
iced
yep.
in the end.
Craig Reynolds, absolutely.
That's interesting that they did use Reynolds in the end, too, to kind of close out the game. They didn't go to Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know why that is. I'm sure that's somebody's going to ask Dan Campbell after the game why Reynolds is the closing back. But you could trust him. He knows the blocking assignments. He's not going to fumble. Yeah. But we got callers on the line. Kool-Aid and JB in the sound.
Vikings officially just lost to the Chargers.
Yes,
by the
they
way.
did.
Let's go.
They were down to the 5-yard line.
Kirk Cousins, I'm
threw a
looking
pick.
at it right now. Threw to T.J. Hawkinson of all people.
Yeah,
dropped the ball in the end zone. They were at their 5. Vikings lost the game.
That's your
Kirk
NFC
Cousins
North
to the
update.
Jets. Let's go.
Let's talk about the Lions game. Who we got?
Hey, let's go. We got Cordell from San Antonio, Texas, man.
Oh, Cordell. Tell us about what you think of the WNBA Finals.
What's up, Slash?
I don't hear him. Do you, Maz?
Not yet,
All
but
right.
we will.
It's an odd
I have
connection all the way
confidence.
from San Antonio.
It's a long-distance call, you know? It's coming from San Antonio. By the time it gets here, Victor Wembanyama will play his first game probably.
It's so crazy to me, the ebbs and flows of being a Lions fan this year, because we are on that breaking point. Anson, you bring up the SOL all the time. A lot of people are fighting against it with the brand new Lions, and you're just going back and forth. So every win seems like it means a lot more, and every loss seems like it means a lot more. Because if they lost this game, or even if they lost in Kansas City and then lost last week, and now they're 1-2, everybody's jumping off the cliff. You saw they wanted to fire coaches after one game last week.
I hear Cordell, I think. Cordell, is that you deep breathing?
No, that was Lucas.
Oh, that was Lucas.
I was thinking about the Lions are 1-2 right now.
Right.
It made my stress level
This is
shoot
the only
up.
thing that worries me about this team. The injuries.
Yeah.
Every freaking time someone
It's the
goes down,
NFL.
I see a cart coming on the field.
Yeah.
I was at the game. I got to see the first half there. I got there almost an hour and a half before the game. Hung out, just got the good feeling down there. It was so much fun to be down there live. And the fans were there. The fans showed out. It wasn't quite as loud as it was against Seattle, but they did have it going after a while. But then the Lions were giving up, a pass here, a pass there, and kind of took the crowd out of it a little bit. It was not a most exciting game in the world today. Like I said when we first took it, we'll take it.
I'll take 17 just like it.
But I thought they'd score at least 30. They got 20. If I told you they scored 20, against the Falcons. Would you have thought they'd win, Anson?
Well, I think still they would. I mean, you would have seen more points if they needed them. They played a different brand of football today. We haven't seen the punting unit out as many times as we did today. They played a much more conservative game that we've been kind of begging for. I know Sam's been begging for it. And at this point, we've got a tempo now where we can step it up and put up 30-plus points. We can also play down and grind out games like this, where we have the running backs, even without Montgomery, to be able to grind through them. We were talking in the first half, why are they running Gibbs up the middle? Well, in the second half, you saw their defense starting to give up big chunk plays,
But that's when they were hitting the tackles. That's what I don't think Gibbs should ever be run up the middle. I don't. I think it's a waste of a down, honestly.
Well, they'll know. Obviously, they're trying things out right now. You're down your big workhorse.
I
That's
felt
the
like
problem.
they won the game today in a different style, which showed an evolution of the Lions that we haven't really seen before. The Lions had to win a game by shooting out and putting up 35 or more points.
Right.
The Lions can shut you down now. And they don't need to go out for it on fourth down. They don't need to be airing it out. They can run as much as they did today and control a game. So it might not have been as exciting as past Lions, but I'll take a 17-point near shutout all day long.
The fact that we were talking about the Washington Commanders with about 2 minutes, 30 seconds left in the game just shows how comfortable everybody in the room was. Like knowing, okay, they got this in hand. They're not going to fumble this
Can you tell me about that game, that Bills and Commanders
No,
game?
but you know why? Because I was watching the Lions play football.
I think Buffalo shut them out.
That's great. Who cares?
Maybe.
I don't know. Jump on the table or something. Go ahead.
Hey, look, we're going to get Rob from Saginaw in here. He actually has a message for somebody on this panel.
Uh-oh. Sag nasty.
What's up, Rob? You're welcome to Woodward Sports.
Hey, what's up, fellas, man? Nothing, man. Hey, hell of a game today. Anton, I got something for you, brother. I am so sick of hearing about this SOL shit, bro. Like, seriously, man, I'm about to revoke your fucking fan card right now.
Oh, Anson, he's saying he's about to revoke your fan card because you're still SOL.
You're still SOL. I keep hearing this shit from you, bro. Come on, man. Can you just be positive? Can you be stoked, not scared, bitch? Come on, man.
Ask him.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 43.
He's 43, so he knows about the SOL.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I know plenty, man. I've been a Lions fan my whole life. This is the first time we actually got a front office that's, put together correctly. I mean, Brad Holmes is amazing. I mean, just to put all these rookies that he has, every single year the rookies are showing up. And, the game was great, man. I can't believe Green Bay ended up pulling that out. But, hey, whatever. We're going to take them out next week. So, actually Thursday.
Yeah, Green Bay can do whatever the heck they want to do. I'm not worried about that. But, Anson, do you want to reply to people trying to revoke your card because, you're starting to come in with a little bit of negativity during the game? The SOL comes out.
Hey, man, real quick.
Hold on. Go ahead, Rob.
Positive things happen to positive thinkers. Quit being such a negative bitch, man.
Negative B, he said. Let's get this man some headphones.
Kool-Aid.
Let's get this man some headphones.
But Anson, what do you want to tell? Because there are fans like you who last week were reveled in that loss, who were just like, but I tried to tell y'all they weren't good. I tried to tell y'all.
I wasn't reveling in that.
I'm not saying you, but I'm saying that you're kind of in the middle, but there's people that are over the top with it when the Lions lose.
Yeah. My big thing is last week,
on the post-game festivities, Stick, Anson, Maz, Luke, JB, Kool-Aid, we're all here to chat with you. Lions 20-6 winners. They are 2-1. They lead the NFC North. Packers did win. So is that one win for them?
No, they got two.
So they're two. They're tied with the Lions for first right now as they head into Lambeau. Minnesota lost. They're 0-3. Bears are playing the Chiefs. They will probably be 0-3. So we'll take the win today. Jared Goff, a rushing touchdown today, and a pass to Sam Laporta early. Sam Laporta, to me, is, it's like stating the obvious. I think he was a hell of a draft pick. I think when it's all said and done, they're going to have the best tight end out of this draft.
it really looks that way.
And you know what? He is becoming Jared Goff's go-to guy. Of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number one guy. And Jameson Williams is waiting in the wings.
That's what I can't wait
He's
for,
waiting
man.
in the wings.
J-Mo.
Yep, I haven't even seen anything out of him yet, so I won't talk about him yet. Josh was a little down today. Josh Reynolds got a holding penalty there at the end of the game. And Khalif Raymond played well. Everyone stepped up today. Everyone did. And that's what you want.
It was tough to pinpoint one guy on offense where you're like, that guy made the offense go. I mean,
I think it's Laporta.
They didn't put up a ton of points.
Yeah.
Laporta would
about
probably
90
be
yards,
the guy.
a touchdown.
But honestly, I know Goff threw another interception, but the first half he looked so dominant. The throws he was making.
Missed Khalif.
He missed Khalif. He overthrew him a little bit, but I mean, other throws he was putting them in a perfect spot away from the defender where only his guy could catch it. He was reading the defense. He was poised in the pocket. He was taking his time, and just watching him become a better general every single game is really something that has been fun to watch. Mostly because I was preaching that this guy could play football when we got him. Everybody was ready to throw him away. And it's like, well, wait, you're going to throw away a 25-year-old #1 overall pick who has been to a Super Bowl? That made no sense to me. On paper, if someone offered that quarterback to you, everybody in the league would jump on it. Every single person in the league would jump on it.
Except Sean McVay.
Sean McVay, yeah. Man, McVay, it's one of the best trades, I think,
for
in
both
NFL
teams.
history that worked out both ways.
Correct.
I can't name another trade that worked out so good for both teams.
I'd have to really think about it, and I doubt we'd come up with one better than that. But the Lions have to win with Goff to make that really work here in Detroit.
They are winning with Goff, and Goff is setting records. What was this, his 15th game in a row with a touchdown pass, a franchise-setting record that not even Matthew Stafford did when he was in the Lions uniform?
I'm pretty sure he's got
What was that, Lucas?
Just saying, this team is in better hands with Jared Goff than it is with Matthew Stafford. Just saying.
Okay. I thought
Just
you were
saying
arguing
that.
with me.
Well, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good personnel
to see a young
here too.
Stafford in this offense, though. It would be interesting.
But
big
we
thing
wouldn't
with-
have this offense if Stafford was still here. That's the tricky
True,
part. We don't
true.
get the extra pieces. We don't have those things in place if Stafford's still here.
What Stafford didn't have as a young QB was touch. He missed so many short passes trying to gunsling all the time that what I've seen out of Jared Goff is a patience and a finesse to his game that really fits this offense, especially without the massive 6'5", 4'4" weapons out there. But it's going to be interesting to get J-Mo out there because he doesn't even have to catch a ball, and it's going to change what the defense does.
It's going to stretch the defense. Kool-Aid, we got more callers on the phone?
Hey, we do. We got Cordell back from San Antonio, Texas.
All right.
All right. What's
Cordell,
up?
welcome
boy
on.
Cordell.
Welcome into Woodward Sports, Cordell.
Did everybody hear me this time?
We got you,
Yeah,
man.
there
We
we
got
go.
you.
Heard. Cool. I just wanted to talk about Brian Branch because that number 32 hasn't looked so good on anyone since Dre Bly.
Facts.
Oh man, we're talking about a guy that everybody was, they were talking so much mess when we were coming out of the preseason, and he was like, I can't wait to go up against Patrick Mahomes. Even talked about getting that pick, and he gets the pick 6, and sure, Kadarius Toney plays a part in that, but it's football, Like
Yep.
sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but we got a guy who's not just lucky, but he's good.
Yep, you got it, man. You got
Got
it.
that number 32 flying around. I've never been so excited for a Lions team. Like coming into the offseason, I told everybody this is the first time that I just didn't know. Usually you come into every season thinking that the Lions are about to just break our hearts again. And if we get that turnaround, it's because of those 4 rookies. And Brian Branch, man, could play like that and not even have his mouth guard in.
They're all showing.
His mouth guard sticks out his helmet.
They're all showing, man.
That's
What do
gonna
you have,
be
8
his trademark.
tackles?
No,
8
11.
tackles today?
11.
11.
Yeah,
11 tackles. That's MVP
I
worthy.
mean, he plays like Lucas. He's got the dogs out all the time.
Yeah.
He is the Honey Brancher.
You like that nickname? Is that the nickname for him,
The
Honey
Honey
Brancher?
Brancher, baby.
I don't mind.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it because
Honey
the dude
Brancher.
plays like Teran Matthew. I love it.
He's all
I
over
love
the
it.
ball all the time.
Oh, that's great.
I
He
can't
stepped
get
up,
enough
man.
of it.
Well, he's starting now thanks to CJ's injury, and he was announced today. They announced the defense today. They came out there. Last week was the offense. This week was the defense. Ford Field was going crazy, man. And I was so happy that Brian Branch was able to run out as a starter.
Yeah, and you can't forget Tracy Walker getting
yeah.
on the
Tracy
field,
Walker
too.
On
Tracy
the
Walker
anniversary.
had some big
Yeah.
plays in this game.
On the anniversary of Tracy Walker's injury of the Achilles, he comes back this week.
Yeah, he dropped that interception at
He
the
did.
end that hit him right in the
He
chest.
did.
But Walker
cares?
had a big hit. There was a time in the game, was it in the third quarter, when there was back-to-back hits on both of them. Oh, Kool-Aid, I think you took the sound off.
Yeah, there it is.
There was a time in the third quarter where there were back-to-back hits from our defensive backs that crushed 2 sets of
Jono
ribs.
Smith went down big
Smith
time.
went down. I forget who it was right after that. But,
might have been Drake London.
But those were big hits. They were
The other one was
clean hits.
Bijan.
Oh, Bijan.
Head-to-head.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, and that penalty, they called a face mask
my
on
God.
Branch for ripping off Bijan's
Just
helmet.
for blowing his ass up. There
Yeah.
wasn't even any
Bijan lowered
face
his head
mask
at the last
They
moment.
both did. It was like a double knockout.
Yeah, but the offense shouldn't be able to do that, and he hit him right in the chest. Any videos up, Lucas, that you want to get
so
to?
the one I'm about to put up is Dan Campbell talking about Brian Branch specifically.
Yeah, let's go, DC.
Totally agree. He really stepped up. You know, you could feel his energy. And I've said this, he gets better every practice, every day. He gets a little bit better. And now some of those critical errors aren't as, you know, particularly today. You know, he's making big plays in critical moments as opposed to the other way. So there again, he just, the more he plays, the better he gets. And the more he understands what we're trying to do with him. And he's a playmaker.
What a class they drafted. And every one of them is doing something. I'm talking even your 7th round pick, the wide receiver, Antoine Green.
Yeah.
Even him, he's out there blocking. He's doing his job. That's a 7th round draft pick that's playing on your team.
And
that's phenomenal.
This is why I don't know why people still question Brad Holmes on draft night. You can go back and watch the Woodward draft party.
Yeah.
Me and Anson were the only ones cheering in that when they traded out of that 6th pick to trade down.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Because
Yeah.
you're just loading this guy up with more bullets in his gun, and he's gonna hit a target here and there. He hasn't missed, but there's still question marks on J-Mo, and there's still a little bit question mark on Gibbs if he's going to live up to that number 12 draft pick. We know he's going to be a good player, but is he going to live up to that
He
pick?
needs help. He needs a David Montgomery with him. He can't be your number 1 guy. He's not going to play that many plays. He's little. He's a little guy.
He's a fantastic lightning complement to
He
the
is.
Thunderback. I have a friend, a mutual friend of Sticks, and the thing that he's been speaking on all offseason and the beginning of this year is he was worried about the arrogance of Holmes and his ability to draft players. Based on his track record, I mean, he's got one of the top 3-4 wide receivers in the league, and he got him, in the 4th round? You know, up and down, this guy's taking guys that are playing from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round even guys that aren't even drafted. Now, his question marks have been in the 1st round. We had big question marks on Hutchinson in the first half of last season because he wasn't quite getting to finish his plays. You know, we haven't seen J-Mo be healthy. You know, he was healthy a little bit last year, and then we get cheated on him for these first 6 games. But you spoke in the middle of the watch party. We're talking about records we're setting instead of other teams setting records against us.
Yeah.
And these are being set by guys that they drafted.
Yep.
They jettison guys like Hawkinson, not their guy. They jettison guys like Swift and others that weren't their guys.
Not football guys.
In big question
Not
marks
football guys.
by Lions fans. And you could definitely say, yeah, maybe these guys are a little arrogant, a little full of themselves. If you watched some of that
Lions fans.
Where they were in the what do you call that? The draft room, and they're
The war
fighting,
room.
and they're getting the war room. Thank you. Getting so excited over these picks, like they knew something that somebody else didn't. Seems like they really do know something.
Do you think the Lions got humbled last week? Because all off season you're getting hype, you're getting national love. You go in, you beat Kansas City, and you kind of took Seattle, and you kind of took yourself probably a little bigger in your britches, as my dad would say, than you actually are. And sometimes losses can be good losses. Do you, now that hindsight's 20/20, and we know the next week they're gonna win at home against Atlanta, do you think that was a good loss last week to kind of check these guys and be like, listen, you aren't good yet. You're on your way, but you're not quite there. Do you think that loss last week helped them win this week?
I would say, yeah, you're right. Because after 3 games, are you happy at 2-1? All Lion fans at the beginning of the year, if I gave you 3 games and say you're going to be 2-1, every single person would be like, hell yeah, we'll be happy. They lost to a team that was very well prepared, coming off a bad loss to the LA Rams the week prior to that. Seattle came in, man. Pete Carroll had a great game plan. And, the refs helped a little bit. They sure did. I didn't like Dan Campbell's clock management in that game, but they were right there. You lose in overtime. You had a chance to win in regulation. That's as good a loss as you're going to get.
And do you think Dan Campbell learned from last week? Because we saw it before the half. He had one timeout, about a minute left. Instead of sitting on their ass, they actually tried to put it in the end zone. Do you think that was a carryover from last week, too?
I think he's learning every game. And I love Dan Campbell. I'm a Dan Campbell guy. I'm a Dan Campbell booster. He's only going to get better. When he came out and they announced him at Ford Field, I looked down at him. I'm like, man, I'm glad that guy's my coach, the coach of the team that I root for. I like him. He's got it. He's grit, man. He's grit. He calls it. And that's what he is.
Yeah. He called it that had to be a humbling game for them. But the Lions last year learned how to win. Now the Lions kind of have to learn how to lead as a franchise.
How to be hunted instead of the hunters.
Hunted. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And
they got the lead today.
Yeah, no, they certainly
They had it last week in the third quarter.
But Seattle scored first. They scored first this time.
So my question is this, is now that, they get this big win in Kansas City and they go online and they're popping bottles, man. I mean, Pat Riley would have been sick to his stomach. And all they did was give them bulletin board material in Seattle to come in and eke out a win against the Lions. So I imagine this is a much calmer locker room right now after a win against the Falcons, because the Lions are starting to learn that this is how we take care of business.
Yeah,
this isn't something we celebrate.
They're supposed to beat them.
Yes.
And they did.
We'll celebrate when we win the division,
Yep.
when we win the playoff game, when we get to the Super Bowl.
Like we did with the champagne. It used to be, oh my God, the Lions won
Yeah,
the game. We're popping
we got rid of that champagne,
and then
didn't
last
we?
year we finally were like, all right, they're winning enough now to where it's not a big deal. We're not popping champagne for every win.
So when do we pop champagne this year, Stick?
When they secure a division or secure a playoff berth.
Okay.
I think that's a big game. These games aren't. I mean, the Kansas City one, I think we could have. I think that was borderline champagne popping.
I'm glad we didn't.
I'm glad we
didn't.
didn't.
We'd have looked as silly as they did losing last week.
Yeah, we would have looked as silly as I did wearing that ski mask.
You're
Lucas,
1-1 now. You're 1-1 in the NFC. Next week you could be 1-0 in the division.
All right,
so
fellas, we talked about some of this defense already, but let's hear what Dan Campbell had to say about this overall defensive performance.
As much as you want to talk about playing that type of defense, it's hard to bank on that. Offensive football has really come a long way, and so it's very difficult, and I think that's pretty telling for what we were able to do today. That was an impressive performance by our guys, and it helps when you're able to take them out of what they do best, which we were able to do. That's what we were trying to do last week against Seattle is take them out of that game. But we were able to do it today, and now you feel like you got the upper hand. So we were able to do that early. Offense was able to hold on to that ball and score enough points and, kind of stay within that 2-score lead. And, it really allowed us to do a lot of things defensively. So.
and that's what you were just talking about, man. Is they got the lead early and they were playing from ahead.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't had a lead. Kansas City had the lead on them too. Right? They had to come back and take the lead on them. So this is the first game all year that they've actually gone down and scored and taken a lead on a team.
Wire-to-wire win.
That's what it is.
They only had maybe 2 games like that all last season where they thoroughly beat a team.
Yeah.
So this is a new way to win that they are learning. It's an evolution of this team that we need to see.
And I think we can all agree that going into the season, let's look at it. Week 1. Against the Chiefs, Lions counted out, backs against the wall. They were the underdogs there, even though they're a talented team. Seahawks, Lions had a bunch of hype around them. Lions should have won that game. But now, I think that we can see with all the injuries, with the talented team in Atlanta coming in, can we all agree that this Lions team, as much as we want them to win, just the fact of the matter is right now they are best when their backs are against the wall?
It's easier when you're the hunter. It really is. It's a skill to learn to win when everybody's giving you their best shot. When you can sneak up on people, you're able to steal a couple games here and there. I wish Darren was here to talk about that, because obviously as the Red Wings were that dynasty when he was young, or when he was playing in '97, that every single night someone's going to try to prove themselves against you. And that's why repeating as a Super Bowl champion is so hard.
Oh, hasn't been done in a while.
And everyone says it's a Super Bowl hangover. It's like, it's not a hangover. It's that everybody has you circled on their calendar and wants to give you their best shot. So I like that the Lions are here, but this is why winning's tough. They got to this plateau to where they're respected, to where teams just don't laugh at them when they see them on the schedule. But now that makes every game even harder, so you got to be even better, and you just got to keep leveling up, which has been fun to watch them do the past couple years.
Hell yeah, man. You want to be that team that people look at and want to play. You want to be on that national television schedule. I mean, they got some primetime games going, and if they play like we all think they're going to play, they're probably going to get flexed a couple more times before the year's over.
Not
but you
wrong
take
there.
1 week at a time. It's the old adage, right? And now they won a game. Green Bay won a game. They're even in the conference.
Thursday night football.
In
Here we go
Lambeau.
at Lambeau. Jordan Love against our guy Jared Goff.
And speaking of Jared Goff, Dan Campbell kind of touched on him a little bit, not fully, but at least his mobility in this game.
That's right.
Ben's call. It's a great call. That was a great call. And well, look, those always are going to mean more to Goff because he still thinks he's a running quarterback. He doesn't want anybody to forget that. Look, I can throw it, but don't forget I can run it. I think no, listen, it was a great job. It really was. He felt the end close and he pulled it. It's not something we do. That's rare that we call that, but Ben thought it felt like it would work, and Goff executed. It was a great job.
If you go back and watch the Woodward Sports Live watch party, we're all yelling out plays. Oh, play action to this. Oh, it's going to be a reverse. Not one person out of the 4,000 scenarios that we were yelling was, oh, an RPO with Jared Goff.
And he keeps it.
And he keeps it. Yeah.
I mean, earlier he tried doing the same thing and he slipped on his ass before. So it's good to see him punch it back.
You should have heard Dan Miller on that call. You won't get more excited. You'll probably wind up hearing it on X eventually, but. He was down, man. It's so excited to see Jared Goff on that run.
Jared Goff was apparently excited to see Jared Goff on that run.
And I don't want to hear any Jared Goff slander because I can already hear the people that are like, oh, we threw an interception. Oh, we overthrew Leaf on that one play. Jared Goff, I understand that the offensive didn't look phenomenal, but the fact that he let his defense keep in the game and he played clean football, there was multiple times.
The offense looked great in the first half. They just kind of dumbed it down in the second half.
Yeah, third quarter was horrible for both teams.
Yeah, it seemed like they were just trying to run the clock out.
It was penalties.
Yeah.
So many penalties. Again, referees can control the game. They could take over the game, and they did in that third quarter, which was one of the most boring quarters of football I've ever seen.
Uh-oh, you want to see Maz get hurt right now?
What do you got?
I got an update for you on another game. Micah Parsons just got hurt.
He did?
Oh, Maz.
We'll take that as Lions fans.
Hey. What are you going to do?
Boy.
It's not like I'm rooting for the Cowboys, but I do root for greatness and Micah Parsons. I do love him.
You got any other videos over there,
we got
Lucas?
Dan Campbell. He kind of talks about the atmosphere that was going on in Ford Field. So I'd imagine it would be rocking. We were here, obviously, but let's see what he had to say.
I was there.
Man, our fans were outstanding. It was loud. And I do believe it had an effect on them. And man, that was early, and it was all the way through the game. When you're able to get them in some third downs, some of those nice 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s, our crowd really showed up. You always know when your eardrums are radiating like this, then it's pretty good. So this is the type of environment you want to have.
We brought it up during the watch party, too. Did you watch the Fox pregame at all, or were you just downtown? Anson, did you watch Fox pregame at all today?
I did not.
So they said that the defense, and you should have seen Rex Ryan and Teddy Bruschi's face when they announced this. The defense last week said that Ford Field was so loud it was affecting the defense's ability to communicate with each other.
God.
So this week, have you ever heard a defense complain about it being so loud?
They asked for it too.
Yeah, they asked for it to be loud, but they didn't expect it to be like it was last week. And this week, I guess there was a lot more nonverbal play calling and stuff like that, so they had better communication. Were a lot of those blown coverages because the fans were even too loud for the defense last week? Who knows?
Learning how to win as the hunted.
Exactly. We've never even had people cheer for us like this. What is this?
They forgot that back in the Silver Dome, the refs had to almost give out a penalty to the fans for being too loud.
They did. They gave that penalty out.
That was against the Jets for Barry's 2,000 yards. That was an amazing game. But Ford Field is becoming like the Silverdome Junior. It is becoming.
Fans.
It really
we got
is.
12 and 13
Listen,
here.
It's coming, man.
Until you got to pull your junk out in front of 40 people on a trough It's not going to be anything like the Silverdome. That is where boys
Tiger
became
Stadium
men.
too,
Was
man.
at the Silverdome. Like when you're 8 years old and you
What?
Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom, and you go to the trough and you look down and there's just 40 dicks.
I remember my first trough experience with the Silverdome too, bro.
You became a man that day in the Silverdome. It was a whole different ball game.
Between that and just the pure stench of pee and peanuts, man, unbelievable.
The
Great
fights,
atmosphere.
It was.
The
It
fights
was.
were
It
ridiculous. Oh my God, the Silverdome.
But I got a question for you
I
guys.
still
real quick.
see all those penises in my dreams.
Right.
My nightmares,
The
not
wet
dreams.
ones.
Nightmares.
The wet ones.
No, you had it right the first time.
Too late.
Obviously, the
Too
Lions'
late.
second-round picks both went off today. Sam Laporta and Brian Branch. If you guys had to pick, and in my opinion, those are the two players of the games. If you're not going to count Jared,
They
Goff.
are.
Who played better? Both of them played great.
Tie.
Player
Yeah.
of the game:
a
Sam
tie.
Laporta, or Brian Branch.
You gotta separate them. One played great on D, the other played great on offense.
What was more
Branch.
valuable though, Maz?
Well, Brian Branch took over for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right?
Yep.
Little junior looked up to Dad, and Dad had to be proud today watching his little boy
He was
play
not
football.
missed at all today either.
32, man, looks a lot like he said, our caller earlier today, and I said this the first night I saw him when he took it home against Kansas City. He looks like Dre Bly, except he's bigger and he's stronger than Dre Bly. Take nothing away from Coach there. Dre Bly, I know you're coaching him, but, I love it. I love that kid since the day he was drafted, and he stood there in the second round and got to come out on stage when guys like Will Levis and all the other first-round blowouts went home. This kid stayed, and I told my wife that night, I love this kid.
I'll tell you, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation between him and Dre Bly on whether or not he could wear that 32.
Yeah. Yep.
You can wear it on these conditions,
Yep.
which he's meeting, and he met today.
He's exceeding.
Yeah.
He's exceeding.
Right.
Whenever
He's
we
exceeding.
have these types of questions, what I like to point out to is, isn't it awesome that we're asking this question?
Yeah.
You know, we're not
Winners.
saying, hey,
Yeah.
which draft pick was a bust? It's like, which one played better and is going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Even Sorsdahl went out there and played in crucial moments in that second half, and he held his own. In my
Terrific.
opinion, he looked better than Matt Nelson out
From
there.
William and Mary. That's right. We got a player from William and Mary playing on the offensive line and playing some meaningful minutes. Now, remember, back in the day, second round really wasn't good to the Lions, right? They've always flamed out on their second round picks, and now they hit the jackpot. They hit the freaking jackpot.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have competent leadership.
I want to hear from all of you guys, especially you older guys. Just Stick and I were after the KC game. We're sitting there, and mind you, it's like 1, 2 in the morning. It was a weird night. But we're just like,
It was a weird night.
what the hell is going on here? Everyone's talking about the Lions right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, last week was a tough loss, obviously. But how are you guys dealing with this success? Is it just strange? Is it dreamlike watching? Because we're going to be hearing about these guys all week long again.
It's not weird. It's just like we experienced this with the Pistons back in the 04. That the 04 team was the payoff from the 2001, 2, and 3 team. And that's where I feel like we're at right now with the Lions. So the fact that we've been through this before with a professional franchise here, it's just we've never been through it with the Lions. Like, I've never, they had that one season, they started out 5-0, and everybody was gung-ho. But it just wasn't the same. That team wasn't built the same.
They didn't have the depth.
Yeah,
this team has.
This team feels like it's next man up, and that's a real mentality, not just a coach speak or talk.
Think about
they're
that.
saying. They have depth. They have a plan. They have a scheme. They have guys that fit the scheme, guys that they pass over, which may be better talent, but don't fit exactly what they want to do. And you're just seeing them pay dividends from it. And I just love being able to have positive conversation. When Woodward Sports started, I think we went over 365 calendar days without being able to celebrate a Lions win.
Yeah.
Now we get one every other week.
And now the thing is, the rookies, they're only going to get better. Jack Campbell is only going to get on the field more. Brian Branch, imagine how he's going to get looking at him 3 weeks into the season. Sam Laporta? Umami, because not only is this team built correctly, but they're only going to get better. And it's a fact because you have rookies out there performing like starters, and they're going to be getting 16 weeks, 17 weeks. In the playoffs, just this year alone, they're going to get so much more experience than they had coming into the season.
Hey, the best thing about today is, guess what? We only got to wait 4 days to play again. 4 days. And injury-wise today, you lose Matt Nelson. I'm not sure who else got banged up in this game. I really didn't see it see how many more injuries there were.
There weren't a ton this game.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good because now maybe, just maybe, that you could get your other running back in that game. You could get him back
Montgomery
in.
back?
Yeah, maybe Monty comes back. Maybe.
115 yards on the ground, no sacks, with a patchwork offensive line today. That next man up mentality that you just touched on, they're doing it. And that's something that we've severely lacked any time that we had a team that had any kind of promise at all. Few injuries, season was over by week 4.
Kool-Aid, anybody else on the line that wants to get through and talk some Lions football after a big win?
You know what? Let me see if Don from Alaska is still on.
Jesus. Oh my God. All over the
Hey,
the
Don,
country.
are you with us?
It's only 10 in the morning there.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Don in Alaska, how you feeling after that win, man?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, honestly, it's like you guys said, like last week was a letdown, but I don't know. It's not the players that I'm worried about. It's still more or less coaching decisions. Like it was a bonehead challenge that cost you a timeout.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't a good challenge.
And then, I mean, I don't know. It feels like they're misusing Gibbs so bad. Like he could be like your Percy Harvin, Jamal Charles, like, you know, lining up in the slot or, you know, like all over the place. And you just, like you guys said, they're rushing him up the middle, or you just see him getting stifled like for 0 yards a lot.
They're trying
And
it
he's
out, Don. They don't know what they have in him yet.
He averaged 4.7 yards per carry today.
Yeah. And he outrushed Bijan,
No.
which I thought
I
was
would have
great.
liked to see more than 2 targets, though.
But I do think you bring up a good point about
but that's what I
Dan
mean,
Campbell.
like misuse. Not that he's bad. I said I feel like he's getting misused.
Get him in space
Yeah.
a little bit more, a la Marshall Faulk.
And is that part of the rollout process that we're experiencing with Jahmyr Gibbs? I mean, he was kind of forced more into the role because of Montgomery being out, but I think we'd even be seeing less of Gibbs this week if Montgomery was there, which I think we need more Gibbs, just more outside the tackles.
Yeah. Now, I agree with him. He should be used more creatively. We should be getting him. We should be lining him up all over the field, and he should be getting probably 4 targets a game. So I see that. But being thrust into the spotlight and in the workhorse role today, he thrived. He was a huge reason why the Lions won, and were able to control the game the way they did.
I don't know if Jared Goff has the confidence in him that he has in a Sam Laporta right now.
True.
Him and Sam Laporta they're like ham and cheese right now, peanut butter and jelly. It's a fact, man.
You're not wrong,
It looks like that's his guy.
Yeah.
Because Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to get doubled. He is. It's only a matter of time before Laporta starts getting hammered off the line.
23 targets between the two of them.
There you
12
go.
for Amon-Ra, 11 for Laporta.
Yep.
You know, you don't even need anybody else after that.
Nope, that was great. And Josh Reynolds, last 2 weeks, stepped up. 4 touchdowns.
You know what?
Led him in yardage. Today, not as much.
Khalif Raymond, though.
Yep.
This is shocking to me. We only targeted 4 receivers all day today.
Yeah, well,
That's it.
I think they only have 4 healthy right now.
Well, no, I'm just saying players in general. Khalif, Jahmyr, Sam, and St. Brown. Only 4 players were targeted today at total.
Do you have the time of possession for each team right now? I bet you it was pretty close.
time of possession?
The one thing I'd like to
27 to 32 won by the Lions.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
pretty
5
close.
minutes difference. It's pretty close. That's why you didn't get as much, because Atlanta held the ball a long time.
And that was their goal coming in.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't establish that run game. Kudos to the Lions' front pressure as well as the
Fantastic.
contain. They just, the few times you thought Jahmyr was, or excuse me, not Jahmyr, but Bijan was going to break it off, they kept him in. They let him get a couple of late yarders, but nothing big, man. I was really impressed with the defense.
I only saw a couple of missed tackles today.
Yeah,
They were
in the
very
first
short
half,
tackling.
Rodrigo missed a big one.
Yeah, they were very
Third
sure
down,
tackling today, which was great.
And that
Anzalone
wasn't
especially.
Rodrigo. That was all Bijan.
That
man.
was Rodrigo
Anybody else
missing
is
the
going
tackle.
down
Yeah,
on that
I
tackle.
mean, look at the last 2 games. I mean, he's made fools of a few people.
One thing we haven't brought up this week that we did last week and was kind of an issue before was Dan Campbell going for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
He didn't make any questionable 4th
I
down.
thought he was going to fake the field goal.
We
in
all
the
thought
first half.
a fake was coming at some point, right? And that's what you expect at this point. And you kind of saw that last year, going for it a ton early in the season, and then he kind of wised up when the Lions started winning. Think about it, like, but that's what happened today. There was only one questionable call, and that was the challenge, which isn't even a Dan Campbell call because he's not there in the replay booth. That's somebody buzzing down to him, letting him know, hey, you got to challenge this.
Dan Miller actually thought that Dan might have called that on his own from looking up at the board.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I stand corrected.
But you still might be right.
But still, we didn't have the fourth down calls. We didn't have putting your team at risk. We didn't have putting them in poor positions. Even though a couple of those fourth downs was like, oh, it's 4th and 2. They're probably going to do this.
You know how many fourth downs we went for today?
0.
That's right.
And look, you won.
Yeah.
And guess what? Atlanta, the first 2 games, stopped 3 fourth down conversions.
Okay.
So that they took that into consideration. Atlanta's defense played very well.
Yeah, they did.
Very well.
They did.
They're not bad. I mean, they started 2-0. So did the Saints. Now they're both 2-1. And then Tampa Bay is playing and Carolina's playing. So that and NFC South will probably come back down to earth.
Yeah, of course.
I saw the Lions evolve today in many aspects. They're rookies, they're coaches, and just a different style of winning in a different capacity, like being hunted, like we talked about. I really, really, really proud of this team today.
Well, what do you guys think of going into Thursday's game then?
Well, I think after watching how the Packers performed against Atlanta just last week, and now that the fact that they're going to be out Eldon Jenkins, one of their best guards, Christian Watson, I understand he's probably returning, but he's not going to be 100%. Same thing with Aaron Jones. So it's got to make you feel a lot more confident after watching Seattle this week, Atlanta this week, or Seattle last week, Atlanta this week, and then compared to how the Packers did last week.
Anson, how you feeling? Because we're going to be back here Thursday night, another late night here. I love late nights here.
I think the Lions are going to pull it out in Green Bay. But this is going to be a game that's going to come down to mistakes. The Lions are a better football team, in my opinion, roster-wise from top to bottom, than the Packers. But going to Green Bay, whether we've won there recently or not, is going to be a challenge. They're going to be fired up to take control of the division just like we are. But this is that step that the Lions have to take. This is the most perfectly timed ball game that the Lions could have in Week 4. I like them coming out and eking out a cardiac cat special 26-24. I'm calling it now.
Hey, you said it's a good timing. Was it good timing for the Chiefs' first game? Yes, it was. It just seems that the things are falling where they want to be. They're right where they want to be. They're not healthy. It's unfortunate. They're still down 7 players, maybe 8 now. We'll see if anybody can come back and play this. Hopefully Taylor Decker gets healthy. You know, he's 2 weeks in a row he doesn't play with a bad ankle. I don't want to rush him back if he's not ready, but the offensive line for sure misses Taylor Decker big time. And now they're down Matt Nelson. You do have Corby Salsdale, who you drafted.
Thank God we have a Panay Sewell that can switch sides too.
2 holding penalties on Panay today.
Okay.
2 holding penalties. He didn't have his best game.
How many sacks on Goff?
I understand that, but he didn't have his best game. He didn't have his best game. Don't shake your head at me. He didn't have his best game. Okay? Now, there's a guy that...
No, this is why, because
there's a Taylor Lewan out there.
Give Panay credit,
there's a Taylor Lewan out there.
Because of Micah Parsons.
He loves himself some Micah,
because of Micah Parsons.
I am not crapping. Look.
The Lions don't
Am I crapping on Panay Sewell?
Hey! Where the fuck did you pull that?
Am I fucking crapping on Panay Sewell?
Did you get that downtown today?
Hell yeah! Look, I got my chart. I got the seating chart. I got every goddamn thing right here.
Hey, he did start this topic off with timing. He started off with timing. That was
Your
great.
timing? I got your timing.
Well,
now, where's your Micah Parsons poster?
That's at home.
He tore it in half with his ankle, just like he got torn up today, man.
What's up, Lucas?
Speaking of timing, Aiden Hutchinson got his first sack of the day. Actually, his first 2, and he spoke on it, how it was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was great, man. I was waiting to do the stanky leg for about 3 games now, so it's been in my head for a very long time. So, yeah, I'm going to start thinking about some new dances now.
The stanky leg.
That was an odd
looks like he's
stanky
about
leg.
to go tag a train downtown afterwards.
He looked like the man
spray
today.
paint. You talking about spray paint? I thought we were talking about tagging a different train.
Hey, he looked like the man today, didn't he? Didn't he look?
Especially in that second half.
Great.
He did.
Second half.
He did in the second half.
Well,
yes.
He also collapsed the pocket quite a few times that helped create the other sacks on the other side of the line. He had some tips. He was present today. He was a big factor today that we needed because he's been a little bit of a ghost.
He was leading the league in pass hurries.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, Aiden
he's still up there.
Finally got
He's
home.
a baller.
Finally got
By the
home
way, I don't know
twice.
if I mentioned this, but his sister sang the national anthem beautifully today.
And she
at
finished
Ford
her
Field.
first semester of being a doctor, too. So
How
she
about
posted
that?
on her Instagram.
How
She's
about
112th doctor.
Congratulations.
There you go. And we'll give you more updates on the Hutchinson family every time you tune in. I feel like every time we watch a game, I get a look of Hutchinson's family in the stands.
It's always a good sign, though.
Yeah.
It's always
They're
after
the
a sack or
All-American
something.
family.
Are they?
I don't know. I guess
When was
so.
the last time we had a player that we cared about their family, though? Really, aside from Stafford's wife, it's cool to have guys that are a national story.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
You got any updates on scores for me?
Kool-Aid, what do you think about next Thursday? We haven't heard from Kool-Aid at all today, man.
Man, next Thursday, it's a win. I'm not even worried. It's not just the Kool-Aid of it all. Man, this team is different. I think Anson said it well, man. You said a lot of good things. For somebody who's been kind of SOL, at least the first 2 weeks, what they did today, man, they put it all together. They look like a complete team. They look like a real team. And that was my thing coming into this season. Are the Lions from start to finish going to look like a real team each game, even in the ones that they lose? So today, they look like a tough team. They look like they had a sure game plan that they knew would win. And that makes me comfortable with them going into the Packers game this Thursday.
Great jersey, by the way, Kool-Aid.
Hey,
You look
come
great
on.
down at Eastern Market today. Great job today.
I appreciate
As
you guys.
always.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Great
Hey, it's for
job
the
as
Woodward of it
always.
all, right?
Shout out
That's
to
it,
everybody
man.
that was
Let's
down
go.
at the tailgate early
Hell
with
yeah.
DJ Don Mecca and Bullseye. Anson and I were out at Cicerelli's on the east side getting
My guy Don Mecca.
some barbecue pig, which was delicious. All right, well, then we're going to see you guys next Thursday.
No.
What?
Prediction, sir.
Oh, you already know I'm the Lions slappy around here. The Lions are going to
Give me
go.
some numbers then.
The Lions are
Give me
going to
some
go
numbers.
in and pimp slap Jordan Love or all the way around Lambeau Field.
Give me a
Jared
score.
Goff is going to have 75 yards rushing and do the Lambeau Leap next week. That's what no, that's not going to happen.
Scores.
Score 28-10 Lions.
You?
I'll go 24-20 Leos.
Okay. What about you, gentlemen in the booth?
I'm going. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people realize. I'm going to go 31-21 Lions.
Remember, Thursday games are always sloppy messes.
Yeah, low scores.
Look, I'm going 28-17. Let's go.
Oh, I like that.
I like
Let's
that.
go.
A lot of confidence in
How
the
about
league.
you, Bub?
I'm sticking with the 26-24. I think it'll probably be lower scoring than that, so let me temper it back down to 23-20.
Oh, I got 24-20. So you underbid me like Price is Right.
I don't want to go over. But no,
Rest in peace, Bob
early in the
Barker.
season,
Oh, the
especially,
best.
Thursday night games are trash. It's hard to score.
They are trash.
This is going to be a grind out, old school black and blue conference game. I'm looking forward to this one.
Let's go. So 2-1 in the NFC. If they win this week, 1-0 in the NFC North. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Sir.
Well, we will see you Thursday night for the post-game show. Don't forget, we're going to have that live watch party. And then tomorrow morning, Jeff, Lucas, Flannel Sam get to talk about the Lions' victory. It's a Victory Monday here at Woodward Sports. Maz with his Panay Sewell poster, finally buying into Panay Sewell. You got to respect Maz for evolving. We'll see you guys on Thursday. It's 4 days away. Let's go Lions. Big win. Big win.
Go Lions!
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.